The Curse of Blackwald. Chapter 2. The Bite. The howl never truly left them. Though the sound faded into the snow-covered forests beyond Blackwald Manor, Edric found himself hearing it in every quiet moment afterward. In the groan of old trees, in the whistle of the winter wind, even in the creaking beams of his father's workshop. It was no ordinary wolf. Some instinct, buried deep within every mortal soul, knew that. The beast had cried not for prey, but for release. Days later, the first funeral was held. The body of Bram, the old trapper, was recovered near the edge of Blackwald Forest, or what remained of him. The townsfolk gathered in silence as the coffin was lowered into the frozen earth. The priest spoke of returning to the light, but few listened. They had all seen the body. Bram's hunting rifle had been bent nearly in half. His traps had been sprung. 3 wolves had been found dead around him. None bore the wounds that killed Bram. Each had been torn apart by something stronger, something far stronger. "They're lying," whispered one hunter after the service. "They say wolves did this. They're saying that because the truth is worse." Within days, the disappearances multiplied. Loggers vanished. Messengers never reached neighboring villages. Entire farmsteads stood abandoned, doors left open, meals still sitting on tables. The Royal Guard doubled its patrols. Lord Darius Crowley himself rode through Blackwald, rallying local militias to protect the countryside. Edric watched armoured riders disappear into the forest beneath banners bearing the crest of Gilneas. Only half returned. None would speak of what they had seen. Eleanor found him repairing a broken wagon wheel. "You've hardly slept." He looked up, exhaustion carved into his face. "You shouldn't be here. You've said that every day this week. The roads aren't safe. They're safer than worrying about you from the manor." He wiped sawdust from his hands. "If anything happened to you..." She stepped forward. "Then stay with me." He hesitated. "My father needs me. So does your mother. So do you." She smiled sadly. "I always will." That evening, they climbed their favorite overlook above the sea. Normally, they would watch merchant ships disappear beyond the horizon. Tonight, nothing sailed. The ocean itself seemed afraid. "I wish we'd met somewhere else," Eleanor said quietly. "Stormwind. Dalaran. Even Menethil Harbour." Edric chuckled. "I've heard Menethil smells terrible." "It probably does." She leaned against him. "I just wish we'd had more time." He frowned. "We're not saying goodbye." "No." She looked toward the forest. "But Gilneas feels different now." He followed her gaze. Even from the cliffs, they could see smoke rising from distant homesteads. The kingdom was changing. Neither knew how quickly. The attack came 3 nights later. Snow buried Blackwald beneath a silent white blanket. Edric awoke to screams. Not one, dozens. He rushed outside carrying nothing but an axe. The village burned. People ran in every direction. Children cried. Horses kicked free from their stables. And moving through the chaos were monsters. They resembled wolves only in the cruelest sense. Each stood nearly 8 feet tall, their bodies twisted into powerful lupine forms. Matted fur covered muscular frames, while elongated claws shredded doors as though they were paper. Their jaws dripped blood that steamed in the winter air, and glowing amber eyes burned with unending fury. One crashed through the village blacksmith's door, another leapt across an entire street, tackling a guardsman before either disappeared into a spray of crimson. "They're everywhere," someone screamed. "Run." Edric didn't, not while people still needed help. He pulled a young girl from beneath a collapsed cart, dragged an elderly man from a burning home, fought beside the village watch despite having no armor. His axe bit deep into one creature's shoulder. The beast barely noticed. Instead, it swung one enormous arm. Edric flew through the air. His ribs screamed in pain as he crashed through a wooden fence. The Worgen stalked toward him. Its muzzle was soaked with blood. Its breathing came in ragged, tortured gasps. Then it stopped, for just a heartbeat. Its savage eyes softened. Confusion, fear, grief. The monster looked almost human. It clutched its own head as though fighting something inside itself. Then another howl echoed through the village. The hesitation vanished. The beast charged. Before it could reach Edric, a rifle thundered. The Worgen staggered. Another shot, then another. A squad of Gilnean riflemen opened fire from the rooftops. The creature retreated into the darkness with impossible speed. Edric lay gasping in the snow, alive barely. Blackwald survived the night, but only just. Nearly a third of the village was gone. Some lay dead. Others were simply missing. No bodies, only blood leading into the forest. The survivors whispered a terrible possibility. Those taken weren't dead. Not yet. The next morning, Edric rode for Blackwald Manor. He needed to see Eleanor, needed to know she had survived. He found the manor gates shattered. Dead guards littered the courtyard. Windows had been broken from the inside. Inside the grand hall, silence. The ballroom where they had once danced now bore deep claw marks across its polished floor. The music box lay broken. One tiny wooden dancer had been crushed beneath a massive paw. Eleanor! His voice echoed through the empty halls. No answer. He searched every room, the library, the kitchens, the chapel. Nothing, until a faint cry from the manor gardens. He sprinted through the snow. There she was, collapsed beside the frozen fountain. Alive, her blue dress stained with blood. Eleanor. He dropped beside her, her eyes opened slowly. You came? Of course I came. She tried to smile. They got farther. I'm so sorry. They killed everyone. Edric gently helped her sit upright. We're leaving, right now. She nodded weakly. Then he saw it. Hidden beneath her torn sleeve, 4 deep claw marks stretched across her shoulder, fresh, already turning an unnatural black around the edges. His heart stopped. Eleanor. She followed his gaze, slowly pulled the sleeve away. I know. Tears filled her eyes. They scratched me. No. They did. There has to be a healer. They've already seen wounds like this. She reached for his hand. The physicians, they said those who survive the bite don't stay themselves. Edric shook his head violently. No. They become the monsters. No. She squeezed his hand harder. I'm frightened. For the first time since they had met. The fearless Eleanor Hawthorne looked like a little girl. I don't want to hurt anyone. You won't. I don't want to forget you. You won't. I don't want to become... She couldn't finish the sentence. Edric wrapped her in his arms. Snow fell around them in perfect silence. Far away, another mournful howl echoed through the Blackwald. This time, Eleanor's breathing changed. Just for an instant, a low, involuntary growl escaped her throat. She jerked away in horror, one trembling hand flying to her mouth. No, she whispered. Her emerald eyes flashed briefly. Not green, but gold. End of chapter 2.